Hey guys, I'm Bijan. I wanted to start a YouTube playlist on six-banded armadillos. I got a six-banded armadillo, Lucy, about 2 weeks ago. She's a great pet, great personality for now, relatively speaking, to what I expected. And I wanted to just provide more education on six-banded armadillos. There's a lot of information on nine-banded and three-banded, and nine-banded armadillos are illegal in a lot of states. They're illegal in Texas, where I live. And I just wanted to educate you guys on prospective armadillo owners and maybe start a little bit of conversation with current six-banded armadillo owners. So I got Lucy 2 weeks ago at a pet store in Winsboro, Texas. I was on their waiting list for six-banded armadillos. I chose the six-banded over the three-banded because my parents have a dog. I'm at their place frequently. And when they close in the wild, they can snap shut when they roll into a ball, the three-banded. And I got worried that if the dog ever scared her, she could close or he could close on the dog's foot and break his foot or do some damage. So I got Lucy. The pet store was a typical exotic pet store with monkeys and toucans in Central Texas. And Lucy was kept in the bird room. And she was fed ham and crickets and veggies. I'm assuming not a big variety of veggies like carrots and lettuce. And I got her in a crate. She was not tame when I got her. She's still not pretty tame. And she smelled. So I took her home and gave her a bath the first thing. I know it's pretty traumatizing, but I just wanted to get that smell out. So I gave her a good bath with some dog shampoo. She hated the water. She was terrified. She still is terrified of water. And for the first week I had her, I kind of let her be. I just wanted to acclimate her to the surroundings. I had researched a lot of diet plans for six-banded armadillos. They are omnivorous and they live in a variety of environments in South America. So they live in mountainous forests, they live in savanna grassland. So their diet is pretty varied. And considering she's captive bred, it makes your life a lot easier because you can feed her meat, you can feed her dog food as long as it's high quality dog food. And I'm currently feeding her a combination of, gets changed up, but good quality, high protein dog food, canned dog food, Missouri insectivore diet, crickets, and then that's 50%, and then 50% veggies and fruit. And it's a huge variety of veggies and fruit. A lot of root vegetables because they are digging animals. So a lot of yucca or cassava, turnip, rutabaga, carrots, potatoes, sweet potato. A lot of that, plus lettuce and broccoli. And she, for the first week I had her, she wasn't eating, which really freaked me out because I thought I have two macaws, and my thought was the screaming of the macaws was too stressful for her. So even though they live in Brazil with other parrots, with macaws, it just freaked me out that I would have to return her because she wouldn't eat. So I took her straight to the vet, which you should always do when you get an exotic pet, especially if it's wild caught. I'm assuming she was captive bred. I actually didn't ask at the pet store, but they had her since she was a baby, the size of a grapefruit. Now she's about a foot and a half long. So I'm assuming she's captive bred. I should probably call and check. And the vet was skeptical that they would be able to do the checkup in the first place. So I paid a good $500 for them to do a sedation and all the blood work and everything like that. And she's an excellent vet, Summer Tree Animal and Bird Clinic in Dallas. And she had done a lot of research beforehand. And her blood test was fine. The thing is that on a scale of 1 to 10, she was a 8.5 in terms of obesity. That's 1 to 10 in obesity, not 1 to 10 in weight. So suddenly I thought, well, it's not so bad that she's not eating for now. So now she is eating. She eats almost everything, and that's great relief to me. And she doesn't like mealworms, and The Missouri insectivore diet she's not so keen on. She loves her veggies. I usually microwave the veggies a little bit so that she can digest them. And then I mix the insectivore diet with hot water, and I microwave it as well because they don't really have many teeth. And she currently, in terms of housing, has free roam of my apartment. It's about 800 square feet, maybe 900, and I have concrete floors, so she can't dig up. If you have carpet, they tend to dig up the carpet. And she went straight for my potted plants when I wasn't home and dug up everything. So I only have 2 potted plants, and I had like 8 potted plants. So there were roots and leaves and soil everywhere, which was fine. So now I have them on chairs until I get some stands. But the interesting thing is she actually can climb. So I have a tall wicker basket with a potted plant. She climbed that, got on it when I wasn't home. So it's been a wild ride. In terms of personality, she is very confident around people. She's not afraid of people by any means. She'll come up and lick your fingers. And she likes back rubs, relatively speaking, but she hates being picked up. And the thing about six-banded armadillos, when they're not comfortable or they're not interested in interacting with you, they'll actually lock their feet and their hands go over their eyes. So in terms of bonding with her and wanting to make eye contact, it's kind of hard because when I pick her up, she locks her hands here, it fits perfectly in her head, and then I can't make eye contact. So I'm hoping she'll calm down. I had hedgehogs when I was younger, and I know with animals that have a really strong defensive instinct like that, it does take time for them to get used to your smell and used to being handled. So she's quite, for an animal of that size, if I compare her to other exotics that I've been experienced with, she's much more confident. She's much more stubborn, but she's very intelligent. She doesn't bite at all. She just hates being picked up, and when you pick her up, if you ever held a snapping turtle and know that they claw at you, try to get away, and they have those really thick claws, she has really strong claws. So when you pick her up, half the time she doesn't want to be picked up, and she'll try to claw at you, and those lower feet can actually raise, unless you're holding her really at the top of her, can reach your hands, and then it scratches you up. But she's much better than she used to be, so she is calming down. What else was I going to talk about? So, the other thing I'm going to get her is a kiddie pool with gravel, and because they have a strong digging instinct, and I'm hoping that I can get her to forage for veggies and for crickets once I remove the back legs of the crickets, because that's really important for them. She just tends to dig in everything. If there's a cardboard box on the ground that I set out for her to hide in, she will kind of tear it up. She'll tear up for whatever reason, a plastic bag falls on the floor, she'll tear it up. She'll tear up sponges. I was cleaning the floors, and she came over and tore up the sponges. But she's a good pet. I think this is linked to her being kept at the pet store and her obesity, but she sleeps about 75% of the day. I'm not concerned about it. She's not showing any other signs of illness, the vet test came back fine. She's eating, so I'm not really worried about it. I think she's just a lethargic animal, but she's actually really easy to take care of. And I have to say that I have 2 macaws. I've had exotic pets. I've had reptiles. I've had amphibians. I've had dogs, and she's actually really easy to take care of. She's highly independent. She is clean. Her poop doesn't smell. Her pee smells a little bit, and I have a pig. It's actually 4 cats, but originally it was for pigs. It's a hideaway, like a stuffed hideaway, and unless she pees in it, she doesn't really smell anymore. So I'm going to show her in some of the videos. Again, her name is Lucy, and we can kind of discuss more of the care, and I want to also videotape taming her and getting her acclimated, and also down the road clicker training her. They have really bad eyesight, but they have a good sense of smell and hearing. And I've seen videos. I think this is Cincinnati Zoo had some not clicker training, but was training them to like knock over cones for treats underneath and stuff like that. So I have experience with that with the birds. So I'm really looking forward to doing it with her as well. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If any of you own armadillos, let me know. I'd love to hear some other perspectives. And if you guys have any ideas when it comes to taming, particularly, I got her when she was 2 years old. I was going to get a baby, but I got impatient because the breeders didn't have them available till early summer. And probably in hindsight, that would have been a little easier to tame her, but I'm pretty confident that it'll work down. She doesn't bite. She's comfortable running around you. She just hates being picked up. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you have any ideas for me, if you have any experience with armadillos, again, she's a 6-banded armadillo from Brazil. And let me know if you want to add anything else. Thanks.